What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to talk to you about Opendoor. I want to go over some of the data points, what shorts did, and everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Opendoor did have a very kick-ass day, went up 10.45%, 787 the low, 921 the high, and a lot of volume. So 363 million shares being traded, 403 is the average. A little bit more algorithmic trading today than the last couple of trading days, but honestly, nothing really to be of concern over. I think a lot of that is just because of everyone talking about the 13G that did come out after hours yesterday. I've already did a video all about that, so I'm not really going to go over that. But essentially no news from Opendoor today. It was just largely piggybacking off of the broader market. So it did get dragged down a little bit first thing. So we did have durable goods, GDP, and initial jobless claims. So durable goods came in at 2.9, forecast was negative 0.7. GDP 3.8 versus 3.3, and then initial jobless claims 218 versus 240. So all very good data, and I think right now the market kind of took that as a negative, only because based in kind of the eyes of Powell, this doesn't really justify a rate cut. So you did see the likelihood of a cut go down slightly today. So now there's an 85.5% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut. But I think the broader market finally caught on that, hey, you know what, having this good data is actually a positive. So many stocks did actually recover from the lows. In Opendoor's case, we also did have some pretty good data. So existing home sales came in at 4 million. That was the forecast. And then existing sales the month over month was flat. So very good stuff. So it goes to show with the most recent 25 basis point cut and just the continued sales, things are going to be looking pretty a-okay for Opendoor. Only thing that kind of came out was this right here. So shows that this individual is kind of doing like a sales pitch of sorts, saying, hey, Opendoor, if you want to really expand, you need to have like upgrade your mobile experience. And you did have Kaz actually just say, are you in San Francisco? DM me. So that's one thing I really do like about Kaz. Very engaging. Today, he didn't actually do any posts as of yet. So kind of quiet today, but again, he is still watching. So I think that's kind of a good thing in my opinion. Aside from that though, shorts, they did return 499,000 shares today. 19.5% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to 138 million shares overall are being shorted. So we did get a pretty big update after hours yesterday. And so 2 times per month, we do have the exchanges disclosing the true amount of shares being shorted. So it's always delayed information, mind you. So as of September the 14th, there was 151.43 million shares overall being shorted. And so that is about 23.02% of the free float. So what Ortex and a lot of other platforms do, they take this information and they calculate up to the present day. So ultimately, shorts did return between August the 28th and September the 14th, a good about 16 million shares more than what we thought. A lot of that is being done through the dark pool. So this is why I always go over some big transactions on the dark pool as well as secondary market. So definitely interesting to see. One thing that just happened after hours was a $14 million transaction. So 1.5 million shares. And as I've mentioned in the past, dark pool is supposed to be anonymous. So it's very difficult sometimes to see what is buys and sells. You kind of have to look at the transactions before and after, and plus what has really happened with the stock price. So based on everything at that time, it goes to show that in my opinion, it could have been a buy. It was while the stock price was going down a little bit, but definitely one thing to take note of. And even on the secondary market, you have roughly around that same time period, 155,000, 1.42 million. So definitely good to see. And then aside from that, like I said, shorts returning today was a positive. It kind of shows that today's green day was justified. So this is why I like to analyze a lot of the data. Looking at the options though, 71 million in calls, 18 million in puts, then 48% of all the options being done were bullish in nature. And just in the last 5 minutes of the trading day, so between 2:55 and 3 o'clock, you did have 3.4 million in premiums. And based on this, again, I know Wall Street, there's always someone knows something ahead of time. Based on this, it would be fair to assume that some big news is going to drop possibly tomorrow. And for those of you that remember, Kaz said that there's going to be a big update, a product launch coming. So again, if you kind of look at this, maybe someone knows that something is going to be coming. So maybe there's going to be some news after hours today or possibly even tomorrow. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that $10 range by the end of this week. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub between 7 and 750. With tomorrow being Friday, just take note of this. So this is all the open interest. So at the $8 strike price, you have 36,000, 850, 90,000, 42,000 at that 9, 31,000 at the 950, 108,000 at that 10, 45,000 at 1050, and then 60,000 at the 11. So best case scenario, if Opendoor is for whatever reason able to get back to that $10 range, then shit is going to really like go up like crazy. Pardon my French. So definitely some big things might be coming and potentially a nice little gamma squeeze. So let me know your general thoughts on that. When it comes down to a lot of these big strike prices though, this is where you could see shorts wake up a little bit just to try to suppress it, in my opinion, of course. But again, what do I know? Aside from that, there was no new analyst ratings, but with that most recent 13G, so Jane Street buying roughly around 44 million shares, it would be fair to assume that some analysts are going to take notice of that and give some positive ratings. Because to be fully honest, a lot of these individuals are just very, very overpaid sheep. So they see a big catalyst, such as another big institution buying, they'll say, hey, you know what? Maybe there is something to this stock. I'm going to give a good rating. So don't be surprised over the next couple of trading days if we start to see some either new initiated coverage or possibly some new ratings coming out from some of these ones right here. So again, don't be surprised if that does happen. Aside from all that though, it really fought for dear life, was able to close above a key point. So that 10-day moving average, or actually to be, it looks like it's kind of on that 10-day moving average ultimately, but you can kind of see just based on the market position, a lot of willing sellers. So it's not going to be easy, for instance, for Opendoor to really move higher, but let's say the market does get some good data tomorrow. So we have PCE on the chopping block first thing. If that comes out better than anticipated, then you could see a very nice push higher as a byproduct of that. Or you never know, if Opendoor itself puts out some good news, you could see a nice push higher and really test a lot of these walls. And then this is where, again, you'll have market makers possibly even starting to cover a lot of those options. So let me know your general thoughts on all of that. There hasn't really been all that much in news or any articles. It's just been, for the most part, everything that I've kind of brought up, and a lot of people speculating on what is going to be coming next. So a lot of people are just watching for either this to go up. You have a lot of people on social media really betting on Opendoor just crashing and burning. So I think a lot of people, it's just two different camps, right? Both very opinionated, and yeah, it is what it is. So let me know your general thoughts on all of that. As I mentioned at the beginning, most of that volume was linked to algorithmic trading, and you can kind of see that based on all of this. So let me know your thoughts on Opendoor. Have you been buying? Are you selling? What's your kind of 2 cents on all of that? And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. Put out daily, day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to kind of check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.